Welcome back, CSC230 W1, to part 3 of our ex2 listen links CSS. And this is for fall 22 that we're kind of redoing this, so it has some fall imagery here. So it's a little different than the spring one that I had before with the winter image. And what we're going to do here is tweak the line spacing or the line height. We're going to tweak the headings a little bit and the fonts on the page, and we're going to color the links. And we're not going to do the picture until another exercise. So we're going to just finish up this first before we add the image, the floating image in the empty area to the page. So let's get started with this. Now, if we take a look at this, we have a serif font all the way through. We have this thing here, the links are in this blue color by default, and they go in a kind of a magenta or purple color by default after you click on them. So the visited link is this purple color, the active link is the blue color. So we're going to change that so it's just green or this burnt orange color. I think green might be better. It might stand out less. I don't want the links to stand out that much. They could, but we'll see what works out best. We could try it either way. And we'll tweak the fonts a little bit, and we already did the footer, so we don't have to do that. So let's get going with our CSS. Let's tweak some fonts a little bit. So I'm going to work on the paragraph a little bit. I'm going to put everything in kind of a sans serif font like we did for the footer. So let's go and do that. We're going to go into body to do that. So we can go up to body, and I'm just going to put, actually, I'm going to go down and copy this because this is what we want. So I'm going to copy this from the footer, and I'll put it up in body. Now it's going to look bigger before we do it, and I'm going to put it before the font size because I like specifying the font before putting font size. You don't have to, but I just feel better doing that. So we might have to take away this 110%. So let's see what happens just by doing this. Let's refresh it. And you can see everything looks bigger and it looks a little more crowded. So I'm going to spread that out a little more. Now we already used padding above or padding top on these to spread these out. Now we could have used line height here, but I'm going to use line height on the paragraph, and then I'm going to use serif fonts on the headings for the H1s and H2s. So let's just go to line height first, and that's also for the paragraph. So we're going to go down here and find that main P. This is that main P. That's this paragraph. So that's the only thing I want to do, this main P. And I'm going to go in here and put line height. Line height, and there it is. And I'm just going to use a percentage. Now 120 might be default, so I'm going to try like 140% and see what that looks like. So we'll put 140% in there, and I'll refresh it and see what happens. And that's good. I don't think I want any more than that. That looks nice. It just kind of lightens it a little, and it's very close to this. And, you know, we could have taken out the padding top and put line height in the LIs as well. But if we were going to do that, you could go here and comment this out just to try it. I'll do command / and copy this line height. And that means all the LIs will get that, and it should do the same thing. It shouldn't look any different. So let's just see what happens. I'll go here, I'll refresh, and it looks a little tighter. Takes a little space away because when we did padding above, it added a little more between those. So that's okay. I think I'll do that. I'll leave it like that. I'll leave line height in there for that and also for the main P. So that looks good. That way we're not using padding, so I could get rid of this. I'll just wipe this out. Don't need that anymore. So we have that. We have that. Everything's in a sans serif now. That looks okay down here because we have like 90%, so it's a little smaller. And we want to put these in a serif font. So let's do that, and let's specify, let's see, we have H1, we have H2. Right after this, I'm going to put H1, comma, H2. Now we'll type font family, and there's font family coming up. And let me start to type Georgia and see what comes up. There's Georgia, Times New Roman, Times, and Serif. I'm going to choose that. That's a good collection. You don't have to use Times again because Times New Roman is pretty similar. What else could you use there? You could use, well, you could just take it out and use serif because people are going to have Georgia and people are going to have Times New Roman. I don't know if you need Times. So the chances of them not having one of these is pretty rare. And then serif is just kind of the general. So whatever their default is for their browser for serif, we'll leave that in there. So the fact that these are H1s and H2s, they should be bold already. So we shouldn't have to put any bold style in for it. So let's see how this looks. And I think that looks pretty good. So we'll leave that alone. So I think everything's okay with that, with our type for that. Now, next thing we want to do is change our link colors from the blue regular link and the visited. So To find out how to do that, if you don't know how to do that, we'll go to our CSS tutorial in W3 Schools, and we're in CSS right now. I still have the tab open, and if I just go down, they have CSS links, and it's fairly easy, styling links, and the link is an A, so it's the anchor link that you're doing, and we don't just want to make a color, we want to go down and use these states. They have the link, which is the normal unvisited, and then we want to use the visited. Now we could use a hover, and we could use active when it's clicked. That's very quick. You hardly ever see that. So I'm just going to use these two, the A:link and the A:visited, and we're just going to make them the same because I don't want them different. I don't want visited links. I'd rather just keep them nice and consistent. So we're going to go back here, and I'll put it after the LI or somewhere in here because that's where the links are. I guess I'll put it here, and I'll put A link, and then I'll put my curly braces, and I'll copy the green color first that I used for the H2s and see how that looks. Just copy that declaration, put it right in there, and see how it looks. So I'll refresh this, and there's the green links. So they look pretty good. It's still using that visited, so we're going to take that out. And what we could do is to put both of them in here. I could put a comma and put A:visited. That way it's all in one declaration block. A visited, A link, and they're both going to use that color. So let's see if that works. And that wipes out that visited. So that looks okay. And if you think it doesn't stand out enough, you could try the burnt color. Let's go to the 1H1 that has that burnt red color. I'm going to copy that. And what I'm going to do is actually put it right after the other one. You might say, well, how are you putting two? Won't you confuse it? No, it'll actually use the second one. So if it goes down and it sees the same property of color, it's going to use the newest one, which is as it goes down the list. It's kind of like in programming. It'll use the last line. You know, if you copy something, it'll use the newest one. So it's going to use that. So this should make it red. Let's see what this looks like. And I don't know if I like the red-green combo, but it doesn't look bad. It stands out a little bit more with the red. So I'll leave it like that for now. So that way you could use either one. You could comment this out and use that one. So you don't even have to comment this out. But whichever one you want to use, you could comment the other out. But it's only going to use the second one, the newest one right now. So I guess that looks okay for now. Whatever you think. If you want to use the green, red, it's up to you. I guess that looks okay. This page doesn't look too bad. And like I said, we're going to have another video, another exercise. We're going to do the floating image. So we're going to do that separate from this one. And we might be editing the image as well. So we'll do that as a separate exercise, which I think is ex3. So we'll finish this off pretty soon. So let's see what else we have to do here. I don't know if there's much else we have to do. I think I might have got to everything on here. So I think what we could do now is probably just turn it in. And remember, you don't really have to turn it in. If you turn it in the first time, it's here. But just for review, if I go to MyWarren and then I go to coursework and I go down to Unit 2 and I go to Listen Link CSS. Now remember, it's the same link that we have in here. But if you just want to make sure that I know it's turned in, what you could do is you could just click on this for the ex2 and go down here, add a comment, and go back to here and just copy this link. Not really the page because I'll have to look at your code anyway. So it's better off if you just give me the code here. So I'm just going to copy this right from the URL and I have your username in there. And then go back here, insert a link, paste the link, make sure this opens in a new window, hit save, and that's all you have to do. So, you know, whether you put a note to say, hey, I already did it, you can do that. Or if you just copy that and paste that, that's fine too. So that's even quicker. So that's fine to do that. So that's all you have to do to turn in your ex2. And we're going to do ex3 as another exercise. So then I'll see this and I'll be able to go right to it and look at all your stuff. And again, it's all in the same repel that you're working in. You're working in the CSC230 W1 repel. So I'll be able to get into that all the time. But it doesn't hurt to just put it in because then I know you did it. So that's all you have to do for this one. So we're going to continue with a picture. And I don't think there's anything else. Anything I missed, I'll do it on the next one when we do the floating image exercise. So I'm going to update that one too. I think there's still a Spring 22 image there that I'm going to update. So this is the end of part 3 for ex2 CSS listen links using the ex1 file. So we'll see you back for ex3 when we actually put the image in there.